Hello again everyone and welcome back to The Witcher 3. We are back here in the Nilfgaardian Palace, I think. It's the residence of Emir van Emreis anyway. And we need to go and talk to Yennefer.
Yes, then transcribe. The true authority in Novigrad is not the city council or the merchants guild, but the church of the eternal fire and the criminal underworld. At times it is difficult to tell the one from the other. They both display a similar ruthlessness and cynicism that...
Please wait, Your Excellency. I'm falling behind.
You know what? I'll write the report myself. You'll need only prepare a clean draft. In triplicate.
Jesus, that's brutal. He's a bit like, I don't need you. Right, what shall become of Temeria? Temeria, land where milk and honey once flowed, in what did she wrong the gods that they should treat her so cruelly? The Pearl of the North to some, she proved a galloping rage for Nilfgaardian cavalry to others. Yeah. As the country had survived two previous wars against the Empire, it was here that the war's bloodiest battles were fought. It was in Temeria where the most bestial deeds were wrought. It was Temerian civilians who bore the full brunt of these war's horrors. And bear them we did, bravely and steadfastly, until the demise of our great protector, King Foltest. Then Providence turned its fickle face from Temeria, murdered most treacherously. Foltest failed to leave Temeria a worthy successor. He did have two bastard kids. I wonder what happened to them. I guess because they weren't pure-blooded, I guess. And so all manner of curse soon fell upon her, tearing her apart like so much carrion. She had no more allies then. None remembered that we had once been the arm protecting the north from the designs of the Mad Dancer. He who had the gravestones of his foes pounded into a ballroom floor. A free and independent Temeria is no more. A dark-faced sun looms over her every rampart, yet we Temerians live on, and always will. As long as folk believe the usurper who took our beloved capital Vizima to treat it as his property will forever peer over his shoulder in fear. For in the shadows lurks not one dagger, but the power of a nation of daggers waiting to deal justice's blow. I hope so. Temeria deserves to be free again. I hope that will one day happen. Royal Lineages of the North. I've read that. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I have. That's the Book of Ciri. To give it its unofficial title, the Book of Ciri. Bread and a smoking pipe, yeah, sure. I'll just take everything. I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those really horrible people. Clearly not showing much respect. Couple of bookcases here as well to look at. Pearls of the North, Novigrad. Interesting to read about Novigrad actually. I imagine we'll go there at some point. No one can claim to have traveled the Northern Realms who has not been to Novigrad. If I were forced to list what during my many meanderings has made the greatest impression on me, it would be precisely this great and yet at the same time free city. A metropolis worthy of the Empire, its only flaw is that the civilization Nilfgaard carries within her has not yet enlightened it. That is why hordes of reactionary cultists of the Eternal Fire dwell in the midst of its excellent buildings and superb commercial infrastructure. One feels as though superstition is how the local hierarch and his temple guards cement their power over the city dwellers. And many they are to control, for the city counts no less than 30,000 of inhabitants. While strolling through its fabulous port surrounded by marvels of architecture, it is hard to imagine that centuries ago, Novigrad was a mere minor elven townstead. When the city fell into the hands of the Nordlings, its problems grew exponentially, for as is well known to the people of the North can do a great many things. But peaceful and orderly cohabitation is not one of them, and so Novigrad first belonged to Redania, and then fell under Temerian rule, until finally, after endless compromises and bargains, it at last became a free city. But is the city truly free? I dare to doubt it. Redanian influence makes itself felt too strongly on every street corner, and the fact the city is located within Radovit's territory speaks for itself. While wandering the city streets, I came across 4 watermills, 8 banks, and nearly 19 pawn shops. There are also a great many houses of simple pleasures, such as taverns and brothels. And Novigrad's commitment to matters of faith is borne witness to by fact that the city contains no less than, I kid you not, 19 temples to the Eternal Fire. My god, that's going to be a hell of a city to explore, isn't it? I don't think we're going to be allowed around the whole thing. What more can be said? I think Novigrad has all the makings of the capital of the world, and perhaps that is what it will one day become. First, however, someone needs to bring order to within her walls. Yeah. That Eternal Fire code doesn't sound promising, to be honest. That's a book which we've already read as well, about the Eternal Fire, actually. Are you okay? You seem to be... Okay, we'll leave him. Ambassador Var Atra. Can we speak to him? We actually can't speak to him. Okay, well, if he does not wish to speak to me, then I will not speak to him. A portrayal of the elder races. What is a non-human? The answer is simple. As the very name suggests, it is something which resembles and yet nevertheless is not a human. Though it walks on two legs, speaks a tongue similar to our own, and dresses in similar attire, it's all the same as more in common with base beast than noble man. Dwarves are like moles. They feel best underground and avoid direct sunlight. They like to live in filth, forever smudging themselves in mud and slime. They love everything that can be found within the earth, rocks, metal, minerals of all shape and colour. It is also said that, like their kindred moles, they feed most readily on worms, roaches and other night crawlers. That is an awful portrayal. Carry on. Halflings, for their part, are more reminiscent of gophers. Fat, lazy and loud in that typical rodent way. Their minds are filled only with thoughts of food and drink, which they steal from other nobler beasts and greedily squirrel away in their hovels. They are marked by a cruel craftiness. You could be dying of hunger, and they would not share a meal with you. You could be howling from poverty, and they could be swimming in gold, and yet they would still fleece you to the last crown. You could do nothing but good to them, and they would still stab a knife in your back. Okay, elves. Oh dear God. Elves in turn seem related to the birds of prey that dwell in far off Zerrikania. They care most for coloured feathers. They would most readily spend all day staring at their reflections in the water and singing their own praises. They are so awash in self-love they no longer feel any desire towards members of the opposite sex of their own species. Their appearance, unquestionably pleasant to the eye, is highly misleading, for they are extraordinarily cruel, and any who judge them by looks alone they first dupe and then kill in cold blood. The best proof of this, the so-called Scoia'tael. Bandits that claim to fight for freedom, but in truth only long to kill humans. All these vile so-called elder races are to our great future slowly dying out. Great fortune, sorry. Joy fills the hearts of every right-thinking man at the thought that his great-grandchildren will never know them, and that in their day dwarves, halflings, and elves will be mere fairy tale characters used to scare young, impressionable children. That is honestly one of the worst books I think I've read in this series so far. That was an actual disgrace. Anyway, Yennefer.
Geralt, that tunic, you look positively smashing.
Dying to take it off.
It's not Geralt wear.
Under different circumstances. One I might even take you up on. But we've matters to attend to.
One day, Yenn, one day. Where's Triss? I'm curious where Triss is.
Understand why I'm at Emir's court?
And seems we're in the same boat now. Ciri, she's really back? No chance he's mistaken?
Look, that's more or less what she looks like now. Or so our agents claim.
Jesus Christ!
Our little witch has
Look
grown
at her.
into a young lady.
So they're our agents now.
So they're our agents now? My, you've clearly settled in quick.
Geralt, don't twist my words. I know
That was a
who
direct
Emir
quote.
is. He started this war and its bloodshed. He had my friends killed. But I haven't any other choice. So please, let's not belabor the pros and cons and instead focus on finding Ciri. All right?
Right. Emir said the Wild Hunt's after her. I'd find that hard to believe before what happened yesterday. How did they track us down?
Because of me. You see, I've spent months searching for Ciri. Using locating spells, haruspicy, geomancy, anything, really. I knew the Wild Hunt might sense it, perhaps even find me, but I thought I'd tricked them.
Well, guess you were wrong.
I've sensed them on my trail, hunting me, for some time. If not for you and Emir's soldiers, they'd have gotten what they were after. I can't risk another encounter like that. It's time to put away the magic, turn to more traditional methods. To the best tracker I know.
We're going
You
incognito.
must find her, Geralt. Before the Wild Hunt does.
So it's a race against time to find Ciri. Okay.
The Wild Hunt. What could it want from Ciri?
I've no clue, Geralt. Might have written them to ask, but I don't have their address. I know
Very
as much
good.
as you do. It must be about her blood. Her gift. As for what the Hunt wishes to do with that gift, I'd prefer not to think about it, really.
Yeah, that could lead to some horrible things.
So where's Ciri been seen exactly?
In two places. Velen and Novigrad.
Ah, the
trail in
famed
Velen is most
Novigrad.
promising. You should make that your first stop. Ask for a merchant named Hendrik at the inn at the crossroads. One of the Emperor's agents. He should get in touch with you.
Okay.
That's it?
Hendrik.
No passwords? Secret handshakes?
None. Sorry to spoil your fun. Your boyhood fantasies about the crafts of the trade.
I'm devastated,
All
honestly.
we have in Novigrad are unconfirmed reports, rumors. But there you will have the help of our mutual acquaintance.
Dandelion.
Triss Merigold.
Oh, Triss.
Apparently she's got a cozy flat on the main square.
Oh.
Sure she'll be
So
delighted
Triss
to
is
see
there.
me. What about you? What will you do?
I shall sail for Skellige. There was a magic explosion there recently, blew half a forest down. I believe this had something to do with Ciri. I'll be in Caer Trold. Join me there.
Caer
once you learn
Trolls.
something.
Okay.
One thing before we go. Why didn't you contact me? Didn't need me? Didn't even want to see me?
I didn't want to spoil things. I'd heard you and Triss made a great couple.
Haha.
Yenn, I'd lost my memory.
Really? That's your
It
excuse?
is true.
Let's drop it, all right? It's not what you think, or it helped me understand how much I love you. I don't wish to hear it. Any of it.
I feel like we're gonna have a decision to make at some point between those two, aren't I? Okay, time to get going. Also, can I have my
This
things
means
back?
We need to split up again. Not my preference, but I understand.
You spend all this time trying to find her, and then you split up just like it's nothing.
So why don't I teleport you to Vel and get you there at once?
Not gonna happen. I'll go on horseback as soon as I can get changed.
Have it your way? Oh, and you really look quite dashing in black velvet.
Think so? Maybe I can.
Black
have some of
velvet,
my
if you
armor
please.
lined with it. Good luck, Yenn.
Same to you. And if you wish to learn what's happened in the world while you and Vesemir roamed the wilderness, talk to Ambassador Varatra. That's him over there.
Oh, and so now I can speak to him.
And
Okay.
Geralt, I know it's wartime, but try not to be a hero, all right? Just check those leads and come back to me in one piece. I
Aww,
shall be waiting.
ain't that sweet? Okay, so character entry added Triss Merigold. Yeah, there she is. Oh, hello. Okay, that's very grand. Okay, yep, she's off. Goodbye, Yenn. And just like that, she's gone. Okay, good stuff. So, Hendrik, considering the way Spy Corps of all stripes tend to function, Hendrik was undoubtedly not this man's real name. Nevertheless, that was the only appellation the Witcher knew for his Imperial Majesty's nose to the ground in Velen. After asking around, Geralt learned a Hendrik lived in the village of Heatherton. I not asked around, but okay. Triss, here we go. I always considered it a point of particular pride to count Triss Merigold of Maribor among my closest and dearest friends. This exceptionally talented sorceress was a shining star of her profession, the former mage advisor to King Foltest, and a famous hero of the Battle of Sodden, known as the 14th of the Hill. Yet in no way did she resemble her often unbearably haughty sisters in magic. Her deft mind, warm smile, and considerable personal charm had always won over even the hardest of hearts. Though my personal relations with Triss never ventured beyond the fraternal, I fucking hope not, Geralt of Rivia at one point found her allure irresistible. From then on, the two shared feelings that ran far deeper than a superficial and fleeting fancy. Yennefer told Geralt that Triss had recently taken up residence in the free city of Novigrad. Oh, look at Cirilla now! God damn, Ciri! Okay. So Yennefer made it clear why the Wild Hunt wanted Ciri. Eredin wanted the power latent in her elder blood. She also let Geralt know that Ciri had been seen in war-ravaged Velen as well as in Novigrad, the largest city in the world. Okay. Right. What have we got to find in here then before we leave and talk to the ambassador before anything else? I'm just going to take everything as is tradition. Ooh, actually some quite nice things in there. Dark iron ore, a sword for witches. Yeah, we've seen that one. The Last Wish. What's the last wish? Human life requires 3 things for its sustenance: food, drink, and gossip. Wow, that's shockingly accurate. It is thus no wonder that no matter where I travel, be it icebound Povis or evergreen Toussaint, everyone asks me about the passions that bind Geralt and the sorceress Yennefer of Vengerberg. As a man both cautious and discreet, I refuse to betray their secrets with one important exception. The history of their first encounter is so extraordinary, so romantic and moving, that it would be a veritable crime to hide its light beneath a bushel basket. Indeed, had I not witnessed these events in person, I would never believe there was room in our grim and dark world for such fantastic marvels. It all began when Geralt and I were feeling a bit peckish, oh well, this is bad, and unburdened by heavy coin pouches, decided to fish our supper out of a lake. No bites were to be had, but we did not leave empty-handed. My hook snagged quite a lovely little pot. Oblivious to my friend's warnings, I opened it, and in doing so, freed a powerful djinn. Without giving it much thought, I set about proclaiming my wishes. Before I could get to 3, however, the djinn, irritated, I see now in hindsight of being issued demands so soon after waking, began to throttle me. Geralt was able to drive him off, but I was left in a sorry state. I acted, the Witcher told me later, as though under the influence of some curse. Clearly, the help of an expert in the magic arcana would be needed. It was our good fortune that Yennefer of Vengerberg happened to be staying in a nearby village. Geralt went to ask her that she heal his best friend, who happened also to be the bright star in the North's poetic firmament. This is definitely Dandelion. Yennefer, however, was more interested in the djinn, which she wanted to trap into magic servitude, than in its victim, and it should be said, played the Witcher like a well-strung mandolin. Yet rather than grow angry at being used in such a calculating manner, he fell white head over muddy boots in love with her. What happened then? Well, I won't go into details. Suffice to say that Yennefer's plans hardly delighted the djinn, and without its cooperation, she proved unable to tame it. The sorceress would surely have met a tragic end and taken all of Rind along with her, had Geralt not rushed to her rescue. For once, he did not need to draw either of his blades to send the djinn packing. He had but to pronounce the 3rd and final wish. He could have asked for anything: wealth, fame, power, but instead he asked the djinn to bind his fate to that of the arrogant yet intriguing sorceress from Vengerberg. Julian Alfred Pancratz, Viscount of Lettenhove, born 1232, award-winning poet, playwright, and troubadour, frequent performer at the courts of Neodimir, Vizimir, Venslav, and many other nobles and notables, alumnus of Oxenfurt Academy. Is that Dandelion's real name? Julian Alfred Pancratz? Huh. Interesting. So that was how they actually first met, allegedly. That's actually quite fascinating, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that is fascinating. Okay. Apple juice in a silver mug. Yeah, look at Cirilla now.
Scars healed nicely.
Haha. Good. Assuming that's an accurate depiction, of course. We don't know that. Love. To love is to build a house of cards or play a game of chess, but one wrong word or ill-thought move and you must start it all afresh. Tide. Whenever I watch the tide recede, cold coils of fear grip around my heart. Will the seas sneak black, calm and sure, in the dark of night as they have before? Or will they stay on distant shores, leaving crushed shells and washed-up dreams as memory of serfs of yore? Interesting little thing there. I can't seem to pick anything up from there. It's probably just been chucked around a lot, hasn't it, all this stuff? Rusty red knife. Perfect. Just what I wanted. There are so many copies of A Sword for Witches. Genuinely. The Wild Hunt as well. From farmers and herdsmen, milkmaids to midwives, all the common folk of the continent whisper, sharing tales of a wraithly procession pounding across the sky. The Wild Hunt, they call it. Winds and gales, storms and blizzards arise when it is sighted, and all grows cold, though the sun shone bright moments before. Some remember only the cold from the shock of the encounter, and claim the riders come always in winter, but nay, this is not so. The hunt brings its own ice. Death and war gallop in its wake, or so the superstition goes, yet evil enough is the hunt itself. It takes folk captive youths, most often in the prime of their wildling years, with 10 to 20 summers behind them. The hunt rushes in and they disappear, only to return long years later with no memory of what passed in the time between. Yeah, I do not like that. Don't like the sound of that at all. You letter to Yennefer. Interesting. What's this? Yennefer, my dear friend, thank you for your letter. Forgive me for not answering your earlier attempt to reach me via Megascope. I'm trying to limit my magic communication to the absolute minimum. One never knows who's listening, don't you agree? I'm delighted you have found a position at our gracious Emperor's court and wish you the best of luck in the search for his daughter. It is good to know that Emir's intentions for her have become more. more, how shall I put it, mundane. Perhaps in these circumstances an agreement regarding the lodge will prove possible after all. Oh, this is interesting. In response to your first question, I can state beyond all doubt that Ciri has not appeared anywhere south of the Yaruga. Believe me, I can recognize her magic signature in my sleep. I've not had any contact with Triss for a long time. I only know that things in Novigrad have taken an ill turn. She mentioned something earlier about fleeing to Kovir, but I'm afraid that in the current political climate, that amounts to an impossible daydream. I hope I will soon be able to join you in Vizima. First, however, I must take care of some unfortunate yet urgent matters in Beauclair. With my fondest regards, Fringilla Vigo. I don't recognise that name. Thank you for the news about Geralt. He always seems to land on his feet, doesn't he? Always. I am a very agile man. She who knows. Folks say they were four at first. The mother, she who knows, the Lady of the Wood, came here from a faraway land, and since she suffered terribly from loneliness, she made 3 daughters out of dirt and water. Dirt and water? A long, long time ago, the mother was sole ruler of all of Velen. Her daughters brought her the people's requests and served as her voice. Each spring, sacrifices of grain, animals, and men were made to the Lady of the Wood on her special night. Yet as the years passed, the Lady of the Wood slipped deeper and deeper into madness. Her madness eventually spread over the land. Men took to abandoning their homes and setting out into the bog where they became food for beasts. Before long, Velen was drowning in blood. The daughters saw their land nearing destruction and took it upon themselves to save it. When spring came once more, and with it the night of sacrifices, they killed their mother and buried her in the bog. Her blood watered the oak atop Ard Kerbin, and from then on the tree grew wholesome and hearty fruit for the people. As for the lady's immortal soul, it refused to leave its beloved land, and so the sisters imprisoned it. To this day it lies trapped beneath the Whispering Hillock, where it thrashes about in powerless rage. I don't want to go there, that sounds terrifying. Okay, on that note, guys, we're going to end this episode here. Next episode, we'll go and retrieve our equipment, and we'll probably have a little bit of an exploration of the palace. If we are able to, of course. I don't know. We might get kicked out once we actually take it. Oh, we also need to speak to the ambassador as well, so we will do that. So thanks for watching again, guys, and I will catch you on the next episode of The Witcher 3. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.